What's up, people? We are going to hopefully use a different, different little mounting device for my phone today. Should be a little more stable. Same shitty stand, but just going to mount the phone a little differently. And here's what we got happening, man. Parts will be coming in, I want to say, Friday of next week, as well as the hydraulic press I ordered to put this fellow's bike back together. I got a couple more coming. As y'all know, if you watch my channel, this is the bike that I put most of my miles on, my ultra classic Harley Davidson. I also picked up this little Sportster to rip around town. We modified the hell out of this bike, did a lot of work on it to get it up and running. I still got some more finishing touches to do on it. And we do got to put a battery in that bike. But that bike doesn't get ridden much, so it's not real high on my list of things to do. All right. But what's going to happen today, I think I have a different set of mirrors I want to use on this bike. You'll see why. We'll tie it all together. As you can see, it's got a pretty cool clutch lever, man. It's got a little skull on it. Well, the brake lever was never changed. I think I know why. Little pin that goes through there has a little teeny tiny clip that holds it in. You got to use snap ring pliers, and it's a total pain in the ass. So I have the other lever. If we get time, we'll do it today. But first things first, we're going to make a list of things that I want to accomplish today that must be accomplished. And number one, we want to flush the brake fluid in this, and I have a new set of brake pads we're going to put on it. So let's make up a list so we can cross it all off as we go. All right. This thing out of my pocket here. Coffee's brewing in the background. Can you see my whiteboard good? All right, cool. All right, so the two bikes we're going to work on. Number one, the FLH. Install front brakes. It's flush the brake fluid. That's all shit that should have been done last weekend, but hey, it is what it is, man. Some of my homies showed up. We went for a quick bike ride. We had a barbecue. We hung out, and I didn't finish that, so we'll finish that today. Other than that, I do believe that is the last of the maintenance. It could use a cleanup, so we'll put that on the list too. All right, so that's on that bike. We'll divvy this up down the middle. More stuff with the Sportster, but it doesn't exactly need done. This is just shit that I want to mess with it. So, change the mirrors. Front brake lever. We're not going to do the shocks right now. Yeah, you know what? If I get just those two things accomplished on the Sportster, I'm happy with that. It could use a good cleanup too, so let's get that done this weekend, I think. Wash and polish. So I think what's going to be pertinent on my list, first thing we're going to mess with, we got front brake pads to put on this bike. There's a little meat left on them, but it is what it is. Let's get this done and dealt with right now so we don't have to do it later. You have a twin disc setup on the front. Okay. We've got braided steel lines. These are aftermarket. I love braided steel lines on, it's not so much for the look. when you got a braided steel line, when you grab a fistful of front brake, that line doesn't expand, it doesn't move, and it gives you a much better feel than your traditional factory rubber hoses. So, anyways, oh yes, there is one more thing. Let's change up the order on this. Can you see this friggin' whiteboard? Let's change up the order. More importantly than wash and polish, the original horn from that Sportster kind of got roached when we put it up on the trailer. It's beat, so I ordered an aftermarket horn. I actually have a set of dual trumpets. They were literally the cheapest thing on eBay. It come up on sale. They were like $8. But technically, to pass inspection, you need a horn, so we're going to put a horn on it. We're going to use this piece of crap. So before we wash it, I think that's more important, because the only thing keeping that bike from getting inspected now would be the horn. So install the horn. All right. So that's our list of shit to do. Coffee is brewed. Let me grab a cup right quick and we'll get right down to it. How you guys doing out here on a Saturday, man? What's the weather like where you're at? It's friggin' 35 degrees out here and sunny. It looks absolutely beautiful when you look out the window. You step outside and it's like, holy shit, this sucks. Last little blast of winter. It's going to be in the 60s tomorrow, so we'll be able to take a little motorcycle scoot tomorrow. That's why it's pertinent to turn wrenches today. All right. First things first. Let's get you up here where you can see what I'm doing a little better. And let's get into these here brakes. Make sure they are the correct ones. They should be. You get into things like brake pads. Okay, a lot of bikes recycle them. A lot of them use the same pads for many different models. Like I could tell you, the Honda Goldwing and the Honda 1100 Shadow use the same brake pads. Ain't that a bitch? The Sportsters are different, but I do believe that the Dynas, the Touring, and the Softail all use the same brake pads on Harley Davidson. Put this in the trash. We just got ceramic brake pads. I didn't go crazy and order super expensive ones. You can if you wish, but actually, these are not as thick as I thought they would be. You know what? I may have actually more brake pad left than I thought. To me, they look thin. The rear ones were new. I'm going to have to take a second look. I may not have to install these. They're not very expensive, so for the price, why not have them on the shelf, and then when I need them, I can throw them on. But I definitely do want to flush the brake fluid. It's old. It's a little discolored. I'd rather have some fresh in it. Turn the TV down just a little in the background here. I want to get dinged for the music. I shouldn't get dinged for it, but this is a YouTube channel called Ambient Pulse, and it's AI music, like psychedelic 70s, no lyrics. They create their own shit. It sounds really cool. It's like elevator music, but it is what it is. I like that music when I work. And YouTube seriously frowns upon that, especially on the lives, because, well, let's be honest, everybody needs to get paid, and the music creators want to get paid, and it makes it a bugger to like play the radio or anything like that when I'm doing this. In an actual video, it's a little different. They're a little easier on me. But when I'm doing lives and stuff, music is just verboten. It is what it is. So we're going to see if we can get away with this, being as it's AI generated music. And there shouldn't be any copyrights on it. Hey, what's up, Austin? What's up, Perry? Also known as Charlie. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Coming to hang out with me here. Coincidentally, you guys have both been in this garage, and I've worked on both of your machines. So you can tell the people whether I'm a hacker or not. Oh, well, shoot. Okay. I thought I was going to need some new brake pads. I do not. Cool. That's going to make this whole process a lot faster. Okay. Get up close and look at the thickness on that. Okay. Now, hopefully I can get you guys in here with good enough lighting that you can actually see the thickness of what's on the bike. Can you see down in there? Not from this angle, huh? Yeah, you might gonna have to take my word on it, but from what I'm looking at, maybe this side you can see better. From what I'm looking at, I thought I was looking at brakes that were more like 50% worn out. And these ones are like maybe 20% worn out. They'll last another season. Absolutely. So I'm glad I actually opened up the package to look. This is the rear. No, they're all the same. Yeah, I'm glad I actually opened up the package to look, because I know it's really hard to see down in there. To do these lives, I got to do them with a phone. Otherwise, YouTube doesn't suggest it. But that's pretty cool. I can go ahead and put these up on a shelf over here. That'll save us some time, and that will also give me a little bit more time to work on the Sportster and do some of the other things I wanted to do. We are going to do a brake fluid flush today, though. So let's get you back out where you can hopefully see what I'm doing. Kick right at about this angle right here. That should get this brake fluid reservoir as level as possible. Can you see? Hopefully. Yeah, you got a good view. All right, we're going to do this the easy way as well. Let me pick out the tools that I'm going to need here. If you watched last weekend's Little Bit of Live, you'll know I already had this apart. I already checked the fluid level, and we topped it off. But at the same time, to be 100% honest with you, I didn't like the way the brake fluid looked. I'd like to see clean and fresh in there. I just would. And brake fluid is not very expensive, so... Of course, I only had .3 on my shelf, so I picked up a fresh container of .4, and we're just going to go ahead and flush it. The rear looked good, but we're going to go ahead and do the front for my own peace of mind, basically. Okay, let me grab a rag and a magnetic tray to put the screws in. All right, I got a chrome cover over top of this because, you know, Harley Davidson, we have to have chrome everything. So Let's get that pulled off. And because it goes through the mirror here, we're just going to pull it off and kind of put it to the side like this, get it out of the way a little bit. All right. I need a small, was that 3/8? Might even been smaller than 3/8 wrench. And that was a wee little tiny devil. 1/4 inch maybe? No, 1/4's too small. No, it was a little bugger. I don't think it's 3/8. Nope, it ain't 3/8. So we'll have to dig through this pile of wrenches over here. 5/16 maybe. Yep. This wrench was put away in the wrong spot. Yep, 5/16. And let me do one more thing. Brake fluid, foo bars, everything it touches, it just does. So let's go ahead and cover with a towel everything that the brake fluid could touch, because it'll strip the wax, it'll eat paint, it'll do not good things to your paint job and your finish and your chrome. A lot of guys don't take this extra step, and if you ever seen any of the videos up close on my Dyna Super Glide, you'll notice the nose cone, the ignition cover on the engine. All the clear coats eat up off of it. Well, ain't that a bugger? Because when you do the front brakes, this is right above it. And it kind of looks like that is what the mechanic who worked on the brakes on that bike did. He spilled, either the mechanic or possibly the prior owner spilled brake fluid on the engine, and it literally ate the clear coat directly off of it, which sucks. One of these days I have to take that thing off, strip the clear coat, give it a nice polish, make it look like a mirror, hit it with some more clear coat, put it back on the bike. But that's on my to-do list. Now that I have the little Sportster to rip around town and enjoy, times when I don't want to take this big bike out, that frees me up some time to work on my other bikes, which the Dyna is considered another bike because I don't ride it that much. I absolutely love the machine, but I don't ride it that much. I try to keep it like basically pristine shape, brand new. It's just one of my favorite motorcycles, so I like to keep it nice. Not that I didn't buy the bike to ride. I feel like people are kind of crazy if you buy a bike and don't ride it, but I don't ride it much. Okay. Well, I might need needle nose to get that little cap off the bleeder. Needle nose. Well, let's go ahead and give just a little tickle of penetrating fluid on this bleeder. Not much. I just want to tickle of it like that to kind of get up in there and do the thing. Wipe the excess off. And that bleeder's not been touched for a long time. The cap does not want to come off. There we go. Should probably pick up a new bleeder cap for that. Yeah, I'll set them up there, and I do believe that might be 5/16 too, although no, that's going to be a 3/8. Let's go grab one of them off the thing here. Your sister-in-law says there's snow on the ground. She came up from Florida and 80 and it's 30 up here. Moon Brothers, Harleys are gay. Well, you know, I mean, maybe you like penis too. Is that what your deal is there, Moon Brothers 9098? You like penis and you're attracted to men who ride Harley Davidsons and you're in the closet? Is that why you have to talk stuff on Harley Davidson? Because it sounds like that's why you have to talk stuff on Harley Davidson, buddy. As you can see, that's not bad. But I'd like to see fresh fluid in there. We got closeted homosexuals in the chat trying to talk stuff on Harley Davidson. That's funny. Absolutely funny. I love it. There's always somebody with an opinion. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, and well, you know, they all stink. Get you adjusted a little better so you can see what I'm doing. All right, we have a jar here of, nope, that's the wrong jar. This jar. Ooh, shoot, it's getting full. All right. I'm weird. I save old brake fluid. I don't know, dude. Like, say you're working on a car and you got a brake line going bad. You don't know which brake line it is, but you know it's pissing fluid all over the ground, so you got to add brake fluid. You're going to flush the system anyway. Well, you know it's pissing brake fluid all over the ground. You're going to flush the whole system when you put the line on. Why not fill the system with this used crap just so you can spray it on the ground? That's my rationing for why I save old brake fluid. Get that bleeder cracked loose. Make sure she moves nice and free. You can do this a couple ways. Easy way is just to put a hose on it and put it into a jar and just pump your brakes. I got this vacuum system here. Hobo Freight, cheap. It's effective. It does the job very well. You know what? You see how that's kind of flared out? Let's fix that real quick. Let's chop that end piece off there. But as you see, that's what brake fluid does to rubber. Brake fluid's tough stuff, dude. Whatever it's made out of, and this is .4, it's not the synthetic stuff or silicone based. It eats up stuff. Well, let's go ahead and take a little razor knife and just cut this end piece off of here. There we go. Because that was kind of belled out a little bit. Cut the end piece off, it'll hold tighter, it'll pull more vacuum. Anyways. Yeah, see, I'm kind of fighting to get that on there. That's better. That's going to hold a better seal. And there's your collection point down here at the bottom. I'll go ahead and get on here with a wrench, crack the bleeder loose like this, and go ahead and put vacuum to it. And as you see, it's just going to pull this fluid right up and out of here. It's exactly what I want. Nice and slow. We don't have to be in a hurry. We're just going to pull fluid until we get low in the reservoir. We're going to add fresh until this starts coming out nice and fresh and clear. The front brake reservoir does not hold that much fluid, so this will not take very long to do. As you see, build up vacuum with this pump. And you see the vacuum dropping. That's your fluid coming out. Let's crank this down real quick, tight. Okay. Now, we didn't lose too much out of the RASI wire at all. Turn the handlebars slightly to get that a little more level. There we go. That's perfectly level now. Okay. Loosen this back up. Now, as we're doing this, we're not going to be dumb. We're going to keep an eye on the fluid reservoir because we do not want to pull air through. Yeah, I hope YouTube doesn't ding me on the music. This stuff's pretty cool, man. I like this channel. It's called Ambient Pulse on YouTube. I'm going to give their channel a plug. I don't know who does it. I know they make their own AI music, and it's pretty cool, man. Like I said, it's like elevator music, but it's like 1970s style psychedelic rock, acid rock, whatever you want to call it. It's cool as hell, dude. Really digging this YouTube channel, so I'm gonna go ahead and plug their channel for them. Let's keep pulling vacuum. This is a pretty simple as it gets. We're just vacuuming out the old brake fluid so that we can replace it with fresh stuff. Because we have this in a sealed system like this, we know we're not going to introduce any air. When you spend any time bleeding motorcycle front brakes, you know how much of a pain in the rear end it actually is. And you can understand why I take a little bit longer to do it this way. Just simply because there's no way you can introduce any air into the system this way, and you don't have to fight and fight and fight and fight. Oh, we got a way to go yet. Do we do this the easy way and just maybe pump the brakes once? All right. Oh, this is going to take a while. What's up with all of you guys? How many's in here? We got 4 of you. And we got a few of you watching. Cool. To be honest with you, this brake bleeder vacuum system I got here is on its way out. It was also a cheap one. I think I paid like $30 for this thing about 5 years ago. I think we're going to have to upgrade to a Mighty Vac system. It's basically the same thing. It just has a bigger chamber. So this is more or less a motorcycle ATV style one. But I feel like a Mighty Vac might do the job a little better. Bigger chamber, pulls more vacuum, all that happy crappy, man. All right, let's see where we're at up here. We have removed a whole lot of fluid. Yeah, let's put some fresh in up here. Now, this is something you got to watch, man, because, okay, Harley Davidson Sportsters, Harley Davidson Dynas, some of your older FXRs, they take .5 or .6, which is a silicone-based brake fluid. It does not mix with .3 and .4. Really don't want to make that mistake. The two fluids have some kind of funky reaction. It's bad. You'll not only lose your brakes, you're going to pay somebody like me to go through and rebuild your calipers and your master cylinders. So don't make that mistake and mix them up at all. Please don't do that. You're not going to have a good time if you do that. And why do we go out on our motorcycles and enjoy them? So we can have a good time. We don't want to be working on our bikes any more than we have to, so we do our best to do things as properly as possible and keep everything in good working order. And you can see in the chamber here, we pulled about 3/4 of what was in that system. Well, what was in the reservoir, we pulled about 3/4 of it out. Introduce some fresh. And we're basically just going to keep doing this. This is a very boring process, but one that you want to take the time to do. Back and forth, pump up vacuum, let it pull some fluid through. And as you go, you're going to watch that fluid turn from like an amber color like that to a more clear color. That's what you want. Nice, fresh, good brake fluid. Better for the seals. It's better for the little tiny passageways. This fluid does break down over time. And since we have a dual disc system, we have two sides to do. At this point, we're pulling all the fluid out of one side. So once we get the one side bled, we have to go to the other side and flush it as well. Oh, man. So how are my haters doing this morning? I know I got a few haters that watch my channel religiously just to whatever. I've blocked you guys, so you can't comment anymore. That makes you kind of mad, doesn't it? It's cute, though. They make their own little videos and have references to me, but they won't say anything. You know, hey, I grew up the fat kid that got picked on all the time. I'm used to haters and people talking stuff. And, you know, the absolute most beautiful thing in the world to me is when someone who hates me that bad, for whatever reason, it consumes their whole life, man. It's like they're not living for them. They're living to hate on someone else. Man, that is a terrible way to live. That is a worse punishment than jail than anything else when you let something consume you that bad. I can't understand why folks would do that to themselves. But they do, man. Believe it or not, they do. Here at Phoenix Motorsports, we roll a little differently. We're about brotherhood of the road and enjoying motorcycles and friends and good food and living our lives as happy as possible. Enjoying every day that we're on this earth. You're here for 80 years, dude. If you are lucky, you're here for 80 years. Maybe you're here for 100, but the last 20 years, those are fucking diaper years anyway. You're in a nursing home eating pudding, you know, taking pain pills and pooping yourself. Like, that's no way to live. So while you're here and healthy, dude, why would you waste any time doing anything other than having fun and enjoying yourself while you're on this earth? I don't get it, man. Some folks trip me out in how they roll with life, but hey. Who am I to say? Who am I to say, man? How are we looking on the brake fluid up here? Bit better. Yeah, a good bit better. I like to get a better lever feel out of her, but we got a way to go because you can actually see the difference in the two fluid, the old versus the new. Well, we are ahead of ourselves. Let's snug this down. And we'll go ahead and dump out our old brake fluid into the jar. Yeah, I definitely got my money out of this little Mighty Vac thing. I've done, in the last 6 years, I've probably done a half dozen cars with this and a dozen motorcycles. You know, for as cheap of a piece of equipment as this is, for what it does, I really got my use out of this little devil. Like, I should have bought this is the Pittsburgh brake bleeder vacuum pump kit, whatever. I should have spent a little more money and bought the actual Mighty Vac kit. But, you know, hindsight's 50-50, 20-30, 20-70. Pretty sure that's what my glasses prescription is, 20-70. And we'll do this one more time. Maybe I'll flip the camera around and I'll read some of y'all's comments. But as you can see by the color of the fluid coming out, this is absolutely doing its job. It's pulling that fresh fluid through. Yeah, see, these hoses and seals in this thing are getting worn out. It's a little tough to get it over 10 pounds of vacuum pressure. I mean, it still does its job. It's just not doing it as good as it should. Which sucks. It's time to upgrade, and I know it. I'm just cheap. All right, let's see what we look like up here. I'm kind of doing this out of the way around. I'm pumping my hand because it's just, honestly, it's a little faster. Using a vacuum because, well, that system's about worn out, unfortunately. Kind of sucks. But it is what it is. I think that's the last ride for this vacuum pump kit, unfortunately. And that kind of sucks, but whatever. How are we looking on fluid? And we could use a tickle more. Once I top it off, I'll take you guys back up here to the top and show you what the fluid looks like now. We've gone through a good bit of fluid. This will be the second time we filled this reservoir, and it's looking a lot clearer, a lot better. Brakes feel a lot better already too. Let's see. You see down in there? See how much clearer that is compared to the color of what's in that jar? That is the whole reason that we're... Thanks, Jason Bertano. Thank you. That is, this bike here is like my everyday, just jump on it and go. That's the hot rod bike, and this is the I don't feel like riding a big bike today bike. But maintenance on this one, I try to keep this bike ready to jump on and ride anywhere at any given time because of what it is. It's a big old touring bike, and if I wanted to, I mean, my life is not as such that I could just jump on a motorcycle and ride across country. I really wish it was, but if I wanted to at any given time, I want this bike to be able to go do just that. Hop right on it, ride it across country. Because this is a machine that you would want to do that on. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to bleed out of this side until we empty the chamber, the reservoir up there, until we empty it one more time. And then we're going to switch to the other side. We'll fill it up again. Because I'm pretty sure at this point, judging by the amount of fluid I've taken out of here, I have pulled fresh fluid down through this line. But I would still like to see it a little more clearer in the hose than what's coming out here. Feel me? Here. Can you see that hose? Well, stuff's going to look backwards because I have the camera facing me so I can read you guys' comments. So it's going to look like I'm, well, maybe not. I noticed that before when I went through and kind of glazed over some of my lives. I had a camera facing me like this, and it looks like I'm loosening something. I'm actually tightening it because the camera's backwards. It's kind of trippy, right? Let's see where we're at up here. Well, we're looking a lot better. A lot better at the reservoir. The fluid color's a whole lot better. The lever, actually squeezing the lever, you can feel the difference in it. It just feels better all around. This honestly probably should have been done last year, but I did not. Those of you who know me and follow my channel know that May the 5th of last year, we were working on a total different bike, weren't we? It was a Yamaha Royal Star, and a lot of you guys new to this, guys and gals too, new to this channel, came here just because of the Royal Star. It was a Royal Star Venture, and I really like that bike. And I'm not going to lie to you on this. Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports wished that I would have bought another Yamaha Venture instead of the Harley Ultra Classic. She liked it better. Smoother ride. There was more room on the seat for her. The stereo was a little bit better because they're both stock stereos. That bike actually had a cassette tape. And it was a 2006. And in 06, they were still coming factory with a cassette tape, which was kind of cool. Right on. I mean, I dig retro stuff like that. So, but I figured, you know what? I have the Dyna. Harleys are so much easier to work on. I do all my own maintenance and everything, and maintenance and repairs for other folks, that I decided let's buy another Harley. You know, an idiot ran a red light and hit me, and thank God the bike took the impact and not me. It still threw me about 25 feet on my head. I had a sore shoulder for a week. But considering that it put some money in my bank, I'm not going to disclose how much, but enough that I could have bought a much nicer bike than this. But I found this one. The story behind it kind of made it worth me buying it. And it was pretty well maintained. The guy did not do any of his work. Unfortunately, the original owner passed away relatively young too. And I am told that he was one hell of a man. He was a volunteer firefighter. And in general, just a great guy. And a very, very good friend of mine. Knew him very well. And they rode bikes together. So I took my friend's word for it, and I went ahead and bought this. Even though the missus would have rather had another Yamaha. And I'm going to say I definitely don't regret it. Oh, fluid's looking much, much nicer. Unfortunately, this is like a boring, tedious, long process, man. It really is. That's the crappy part about doing this. So we're going to bleed this cylinder out of this side one more time. And then the next time I add fluid, we're going to open the other side. We're going to bleed it. And that way the lines, the calipers, everything will have this new fresh fluid in it. What's this now? See the hose, and now you flip the phone around. Everything's backwards. Yeah, it's weird, ain't it? But I can't read your comments if I got it the other way. The shitty part of this is, like, I have a GoPro Hero that I can go live from. I can connect it to my computer, via the whole, I don't know how that magic works. And I can go live and give you at least a 1080 view instead of this vertical live. The difference is when folks open up their phone, it throws this into suggestions, and they either watch or they don't watch. If I do it from my computer or my GoPro, it doesn't throw it up like that, which kind of hurts my views a little. But, you know, I get watch hours from the views, and we need the watch hours to come up a little bit. To get where we want to be on YouTube, and more money I make from YouTube, the more projects I can do and the more actual videos I can do for y'all guys to enjoy. Let's see where we're at up here. We ready? Yeah, let's pump her down a little lower. I don't want it to suck air, but I want it to get the fluid level in here as low as I can without sucking air. That way it's going to draw that nasty fluid all the way down as low as possible, and then you use less of the clean brake fluid to do the same thing. Okay, we'll go one more and then we'll check it again. All right, let's see what we're doing on the fluid level. Oh yeah, we definitely need fluid. I mean, two of you guys are watching me. Two of you. All right, is what it is, man. Get this guy topped off, and then we'll get set up to do the other side. I'll be at 30 degrees out. We're not riding today. Probably not. But, you know, I know, Harry, you know what's going on with this. I have that second car I bought there last October. And we are teaching Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports how to drive with that car. You know, in her life, she never had anyone to show her how to drive, to teach her. And she met me, and well, I have one car with full coverage insurance, and a new driver and full coverage insurance doesn't mix, so I bought that other car for one reason only, just to teach her how to drive. That way it's paid for and all that. Well, the other car's paid for too, but that way it's way cheaper on the insurance. And, you know, honestly, I don't care if she smashes it up. Hey, my man, Teaches, appreciate your time. This is badassery. Right on, man. Yes. That's why we're doing what we're doing, man. Just like, look, man, I'm a wealth of motorcycle knowledge. I have been riding motorcycles since I was 8. Dirt bikes, you know, as soon as I turned 16, like, I wanted a street bike before I wanted a car. Naturally, my mom, who was a car person and has owned half a dozen or more Ford Mustangs, she was like, what are you doing? I'm like, you know, I'm like, I like motorcycles, Mom. But I had to get my driver's license first and learn to drive a car and all that. And My birthday's in May. I turned 16 in May. I had my license by July, and by September I had a street bike. Beginning of the school year. My first street motorcycle was a 1972 Honda CL350 Scrambler. I know I'm dating myself with that, but this was also in the late 90s. I was born in 1980, turned 16 in 1996. So in 1996, I purchased that bike with 4,000 original miles. It still had the original tires from 1972. Crazy, right? We had to put tires on it first thing. But it ran stellar. There was no issues. I bought it from a Honda mechanic. His name was Al. He owned a motorcycle shop in West Newton, Pennsylvania. Believe it or not, I think he's still around. I want to say it's his daughter that runs his shop now. Really cool dude. I learned a lot from Al. I bought 2 motorcycles off of him when I was young. One of them was that little Honda 350. That was my first street legal motorcycle that a lot of your guys learned to ride in the 70s. They learned to ride on those bikes. They were lightweight. They weren't really that great off-road, but you could ride them on like gravel roads and stuff, but they were lightweight, probably 350 pounds. They had about maybe 30 horsepower. So they moved pretty well. They were geared a little more towards the dirt and to give some decent acceleration. So it wasn't really a bike you wanted to ride down the highway at like 70, 80 miles an hour. Would it do it? Yes, but seriously, it felt, the handlebars and the foot pegs felt like back massage. I mean, Harley Davidson bikes, the older ones, they vibrate as well, but it's more of a pleasant, low pressure thump you feel. Whereas a bike like that that's turning 9,000 RPMs at 75 miles an hour, that is not a pleasant vibration to feel at all. It sucks. So, which was good. My dad didn't want me on the highway at all. And, well, he had a whole lot of friends and people that knew him well. And if I was out on my bike, 9 times out of 10, somebody that he knew would see me and know where I was at and what I was doing. My old man was like that. He kept tabs on me. Made sure I didn't do nothing stupid. All right, let's go ahead. Put the cap on this side here, because I think we're going to switch over and we're going to work on the other side a little bit. What we got here? Exactly, dude. Honda builds great stuff. They really do. I know I wanted to, stepped outside and said, damn, yep, yeah, dude, it's not a motorcycle riding day to day. Could you? Sure. Especially that bike you got, Harry. You're covered to win, you know. But maybe that's why you're here with us today. Yeah. I've had some close calls over the years. Harry will remember. I was damn near killed in 2018. I like broke everything. I got jacked up pretty bad in a bike wreck, and whatever is what it is. Stay off your phone when you're driving, please. Pay attention to the road, and please don't road rage. My accident was caused by road rage. I ride motorcycles nowadays, and even back then, you know, I ride like an old man. I take my time. I enjoy the scenery. You know, once in a while you got to get on it and bang through the gears and stuff, you know, make some noise. It's what it's all about, having fun. But I ride like, especially nowadays, I ride like an old man. And that's the deal with the Harley Davidson thing. This is another channel I want you to look up and check out. This guy's really cool. He is from Australia, much bigger channel than mine, but I like him. Eamon Phoenix, and his channel is Old Not Dead. He digs older Harleys too. He has a newer one and he has an older one, but he had just brought up about running his new Street Glide, and there was whatever performance Indian motorcycle, and he could, he could keep up with the Indian, but it was obvious that the Indian was faster. And he posted on his Facebook thing. And, I commented on it because old, not dead. It's about guys in their, 50s and up that ride. I'm 45, but, I commented on his post. I said, it's like this. I'm old. I have a gray beard. I drink coffee and I know things. I've also sat in a wheelchair for 3 months and had to learn how to walk again. At this point in my life, I will gladly go a little bit slower on a Harley Davidson that's beautiful and sounds beautiful and just enjoy the scenery. My days of going fast are long gone, which they are and they aren't. Like I said, you got a motorcycle, you got to crank it up between red light to red light, right? But, that's why we do what we do. It's all in what you enjoy. And for me anymore, going fast is not something I enjoy. Let's see. As you can see, that's the fluid that's coming out of there, dude. That's still kind of skanky looking, but we're going to go ahead and switch to the other side and flush a little more. Let's put our juice into our can of juice here. Honestly, I probably should have put this job off. And in my travels today, stopped at a Harbor Freights and picked up one of those Mighty Vac brake bleeding systems. But here's what it is. We didn't do that. We decided we were going to do this now. So we're doing this now. Handlebars turned a little more that way so you guys can see a little better. Ooh. Kind of parked the front of the bike on some cardboard just in case I spilled a little bit, and that'd be easier to clean. Hold on a second here. I got something that might make this look a little better here for you guys. Let me throw a little light on the subject. I've never used this, and I think it's time that I pulled it out and plugged it in and even seen if it worked. This is something that's kind of special. It's not, but it is. I don't even know if it's going to work, so bear with me for half a second. All right. Yeah, it's not going to throw very much light, but let's use it anyway. I'll tell you what it is in just a second and why it's kind of sort of special. It might get brighter as it warms up. See, we all have memories of our grandfathers and our fathers and such, and things that they taught us. Everybody, at least you should anyway, man, if you're blessed enough to know your grandparents. I know some folks, their grandparents died when they were young, and that's quite unfortunate. I know I learned a lot from both of my grandfathers, and we'll get into that as we go. This light right here, it's not that bright, but it's going to help a little. Maybe you guys can see what I'm doing a little better, and I'll get you positioned a little better. That light belonged to Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports' grandfather. And apparently he was a jack of all trades, master of none, always in his garage, always fixing or building something, whether it was a car or something for the house or whatever. He had all kind of tools. As far as they're cleaning this stuff out of there now, and as far as any of that goes, most of the tools are stuff that I can't exactly use. So, but that light belonged to him, and they wanted me to have it because they wanted to see it getting used. What do we got here? Yeah, dude, it is weird me calling you Harry, Charlie, but pearl white and the cherry red. It's a certain spot. Right on, man. Like I said, it was a firefighter that owned it, and those cherry red inlays in there do look absolutely badass. That was one of the things that set this bike off to where, like, I had to have it. It really did for me. Yeah, okay, so it definitely is weird. So Harry goes by the name of Charlie. Okay, so if you hear me say Charlie, I'm actually talking to Harry, my good friend, and a rather avid viewer of this channel, man. He's always on here commenting and stuff. I appreciate that. Like, you guys watch my stuff and you like what I do, dude, drop a comment. Smash the like button while you're at it, too. Treat it like it owes you money and smash it for me, huh? Now, the crappy part with the side here, unfortunately, well, we're going to need a little drop of juice on that to get that bleeder loose. The crappy part is a little harder to pump the brake lever from over here and still reach the bleeder. So we're basically going to use the vacuum on this side here and get that bleeder cracked loose. Get on here, you devil. Hopefully, yeah, that's throwing just enough light to see. You're getting a big gray light, ain't you? I don't understand what you mean by big gray light, dude. But yeah, man, like I said, it's just something that Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports' mom gave me. It belonged to her dad, and for her, she dearly misses her departed father, and for her, she just wanted to see it used. And she said one thing, though: you got to promise me you never clean it. I don't understand why. I guess whatever, the grease and dirt and that on it's from her dad, so I guess it kind of makes sense. All right, so we're going to keep this at about 10 pounds. We're just going to pump the hell out of it and keep the fluid flowing until we draw through a bunch of it. And like I said, this is not the best tool in the world here. I probably should have bought a better one, but this is the one I got. So yeah, you can see how much clearer that fluid is coming out. Okay, let's tighten this up. See what's in the reservoir. What we got here from Charlie? That's not what I thought you was going. I thought you were going to grab the... Oh, yes, the gray light. I see. What's my opinion on the 06 Shadow 17 for your first 750 for your first motorcycle? You really can't go wrong with a Honda Shadow. You can't. That's an excellent machine all around. I have owned like 3 or 4 of them over the years. The ones I owned they were pretty beat up by the time I got them. But that was my deal in buying them, because even if they're beat up, they'll still go. Honda builds really, really good stuff. And as far as the Shadow goes, and this is an honest opinion from, I guess you could call me a Harley guy, but I like anything with an engine and 2 wheels, okay? Some of them I don't like because, well, that's not a Honda Shadow. It's absolutely not a piece of shit. But that's an excellent first motorcycle. It's not overpowered, okay? But it will have enough power. Even to move a big guy like me, it'll have enough power for you. At the same time, it will not be overpowered, so you can learn. It's a big bike if you're a smaller person. Like, let's say you're a dude that's 5'2" and 130, 140 pounds. That Shadow 750, that's kind of all the more bike you need. But if you're a guy like me that's almost 6 foot, I'm like 5'11" and 280 pounds, I'm a lot of man for that motorcycle. Okay. The reliability is there. That's an older carbureted bike. You just have to maybe hope that somebody kept fresh. Guys, you'll have to rebuild the carburetor, which that's easy. I have plenty of videos on how to rebuild them. Coincidentally, it's the same carburetor that's on your last years of the Evo Harley Davidson. Carbureted ones, anyway. They had that goofy fuel injection system, but the carbureted ones use the NC. What we got here? Oh, just knocked the fuzzy off my mic. But yeah, for sure, dude. Yeah, look, I have more than enough videos on this channel, if you're subscribed, that you can check out. That'll teach you everything you kind of need to know. That bike uses what's called a CV, or a constant velocity carburetor. And I'll be honest with you, they're just about all the same, man. Just about all the CV carbs on all the bikes that use them have the same setup, man. There'll be slight differences as far as rebuilding them and getting into them. Do not be intimidated by it. It's the main thing that you have to worry about on that particular item is the diaphragm that is in the top of the carburetor. Okay, that diaphragm controls the slide that controls the carburetor opening and shutting. Okay, that's important. That diaphragm is in good shape. If it's not, replace it. They're cheap. Just buy a new one. Don't waste your time. The needle valve and the floats on them have a little rubber cup on the end. A lot of old timers do not like them. I do. They seal very well. They don't take much pressure to seal. Generally, they don't stick as often, but especially from 2007 up, our gasoline here, I'm assuming you're in America. Most of my viewers are. From like 07 up, our gasoline here is like 10% ethanol, unless you go out of your way to buy non-ethanol gasoline. Okay. And most of the older bikes I deal with all have a common problem. The carbs are a little foobar, and that would be 100% due to the shitty gasoline that we have now. And you could remedy it by using Stable once your carburetor is rebuilt. Spend the money. It's like $10 for a bottle of Stable 360 marine ethanol fuel treatment. Okay, that bottle for $10, I think it treats 160 gallons of gas. So it's really not that expensive when you think about it in those terms. Use it in every gas tank full. The problem is ethanol eats up rubber. It destroys aluminum. When you open up the carburetors, you'll find that anything aluminum gets this kind of white, crusty stuff to it. And that's the aluminum corrosion brought on by the ethanol. The ethanol attracts water. And when a ethanol blended gasoline sits, the ethanol separates from it. This is something eventually I want to do a video on, man. I'd like to take a clear mason jar full of gasoline. It's going to take some time to do. This is why I've never done it. But I'd like to take a clear mason jar full of gas, ethanol gas, preferably like 87 octane, something that has a lot of ethanol, the E15 even, and set it on the shelf for a month. Come back in a month and take a fresh jar of gas and show you the difference. And you can literally actually see the difference. You can see that shit separate. That's in a mason jar, sealed mason jar. Okay, your carburetor is sealed to a point, but you've also got an overflow, so you can get air to it. Temperature will affect it, and it will be a much smaller amount of gasoline in your carburetor bowl than will be in that mason jar. So as I explained, the separation of the ethanol and the gasoline, it's going to happen faster in your carburetor than it happens in that mason jar. It's going to separate on you, man. And basically what the ethanol treatment does is it stops that separation. Pardon me. I'm topping off a master cylinder, so I'm kind of being a little quiet because I don't want to spill this. Okay, we're going to do one more flush on this side, fill it up again. We're going to go back and one more time, we're going to flush the other side and fill it up again. And then we know we're good. Brake fluid's cheap. It's $8 for a pint of it like that. And as you see, what's coming out here, it's much, much cleaner. What we got here? What we got here for the shadow? Should it take highest octane? Technically, no. You can run 87 in that bike and it'll run just fine. I personally like the higher octane. It doesn't cost that much more, especially with a motorcycle. Do you have to on a Honda Shadow? No, you do not. That is a lower compression engine. I want to say it's only like at the most 9-to-1. What you need the higher octane for is, let me explain it to you this way. Okay. The octane measurement on your gas is the difference between the gasoline exploding or burning. Okay. Now, when it explodes, you have what's called detonation. That's no good, obviously. We don't want it to detonate. We want it to burn. So if you have higher compression, you're going to have more of a chance of detonation. So the higher octane kind of gets rid of that. For example, a Honda Goldwing, and I did this test in a video a while ago on a older 1500 Goldwing, 6-cylinder. And that bike ran absolutely the same whether I used high octane fuel or not. It did not. It was a Honey Badger. She didn't give a shit. And actually, sometimes I honestly felt that it really weird, see the pants feeling that you could barely tell, but I honestly felt that sometimes it ran better on the cheap stuff. So that's what I put in it. Okay, now on an air-cooled engine, as you know, an engine that gets hot is going to want to detonate more, simply because the engine's warm. All right, that's a much better feel to that lever. We're going to call this side good. We'll dump the fluid out. We'll do the other side one more time just to ensure that she's good. But yeah, that one is 100% up to you. Like me personally, I'm going to run premium in my bike. Premium's not going to hurt anything, and you're getting a higher quality gas. You know, like, do you need it? Like, my car does not need premium, right? It'll run just fine on 87. Well, you know, my car gets like 37 miles to the gallon, almost 40 miles to the gallon. So I'm burning more gasoline in a car. A Honda Shadow is going to get you like 60 miles to the gallon. So, you know what I'm saying? You're going to burn a little less gas for what it is, so you can run the better stuff and be 100% just fine with it. But me personally, and it is also a liquid cooled bike, it's not going to get as hot. And, you know, as I had mentioned before about an air cooled motorcycle and for the higher octane rating in an air cooled bike. But, you know, that one's kind of on you. I feel like it'll be fine on 87. Yeah, I'm going to show you something before I pour this out. Can you see the bottom of that being a little darker? That was the last of that shitty brake fluid coming out. Man, my brake fluid jar is almost full. I'm gonna have to dump it into the recycling barrel. In other words, the barrel of used motor oil that I take to my buddy to burn in his oil furnace. Fella I know has a car shop down on the other end of town here, actually across the river in McKeesport. It's near Olympia Shopping Center if you're from the area. Campbell's Auto. Good dude, man. And much like I do here, I try to help folks out that can't afford a regular motorcycle shop. Campbell's the same way with his auto shop. Like, if you don't have a lot of money to spend, he will patch your vehicle up, you know, good enough that you can keep going to work and stuff like that. And I absolutely love that dude. He helps people. He's a great dude, Josh Campbell. If you're in the area, look up Campbell's Automotive and give him your business if you can, because he's an all-around. Josh is an all-around great guy. Well, he heats his shop with burnt waste oil, basically. So rather than, he's got a waste oil furnace. So rather than, you know, take my waste oil to O'Reilly's to be recycled, I take it to him because it's free heat for his shop. So, you know, that to me, that's where that needs to go. A guy that helps people, if I can do something to help him, you're damn right. That's exactly what I'm going to do every single time. Many folks in this world are like that. They run a business and God love them. You got bills to pay. You got to do your thing. I 100% understand. But when you got a guy like that who's willing to help somebody that maybe can't afford to go to a, you know, dealer or whatever, and he's helping them keep their cars on the road so they can go to work, that's an awesome human being. And if I can do something that's going to help him, that's what I'm doing. So that's how I help him. Not only that, if there's something like, I don't like working on cars at all. I never did. It sucks. I'd rather work on motorcycles. It's just a personal thing. I don't know why I'm like that. I just am. So if I got something on my car that needs fixed and I don't feel like fixing it, Josh is going to be my go-to guy. Simply because I'd rather give him my money than a dealer or, you know, that type thing. Every time I'd rather give him my money. Unless, you know, let's say the odd chance that I do finally decide to buy a new car and retire my little Kia, you know, brand new and under warranty, you know, you're going to want to obviously go to a dealer to have maintenance and repairs done because it's under warranty. So a situation like that, yeah, but my older cars, my used stuff, that's going to go to Campbell's Automotive just because he's a good dude, and I'd rather him make money that way off of me. If I have to spend my money with a shop, it's going to be with someone like him that's personally a good person. Small business, dude. You got to support small business when you can. I understand that a lot of times you just can't. You got to do what you got to do. We all have to live. You know, we have to do what we have to do in life. But if you can support a guy like that, that's a great human being that helps out other people, dude, that's what you should be doing every single time, man. I mean, me, like, what I do here in the shop with these bikes, this is just something that I personally love to do. It's fun. keeps me busy. I mean, it helps put my mind in a good place. And when I have a project that I'm working on, my whole focus is on the project that I'm working on, not on the mundane daily problems of life that we all have. And it helps clear my head and, you know, live my life. And it's a good mental health help thing for me to be in my garage working or be out on my bike riding, man. It's just good for me. So that's, in general, what I like to do. That's why I don't charge folks much of anything. As my buddy Charlie will tell you, we work the same place. We make good money, man. I'm not paying the bills and keeping the lights on by turning wrenches on bikes. I'm doing it for two reasons: to help somebody else and to help myself, man. Makes me feel good, number one, to help somebody else. And like I just explained earlier, doing this down here, this to me, this is mental health help, you know. And obviously, you know, it's my time. Sometimes I'd rather be watching Vice Grip Garage on YouTube or something like that, or just going for a bike ride. So I do got to charge you something to work on your bike because, well, it is my time, but that's why my fees are what they are, dude. I charge you very little. I mean, I got to charge you at least what I make at my regular job. And if you're a dick, I ain't working on your bike. Or if I do, I'm going to charge you more. Because I'm like that, man. I want to help out good people. I'm going the extra mile here, and I'm doing this twice. I said I was only going to do it one more time. It's really not going to hurt to pull a little extra fluid through this system and make damn sure that she is good and topped off with nice, fresh, clear, clean fluid. Where are we at? We're going to pull through. We're going to empty this chamber one more time, fill it up, and we're going to call her full. Okay. That should be it. Where are we at? Still slightly cloudy. We can go a little more. We can do one more flush like that before we add fluid. Because I'm still seeing a little cloudiness in there that I don't like. And as inexpensive as brake fluid is, let's just go ahead and drain that system down. Okay, let's see where we're at. That should do it. All right, let's top her off. Make sure we got good feel, and we're going to call that finished. Cool background music, ain't it? I'm digging it. Ambient Pulse is the YouTube channel that created this. This is just AI music, man. I don't know. It's cool. I like it. Psychedelic rock themed type stuff. All right, let's get you stood up a little higher here. Huh. I feel like that should go higher than that. Is what it is, though. Can you see good? Yeah, you can see pretty good from there. But we'll go ahead and cap this off and call it finished. We got a nice firm brake. It feels a lot better than it did when I started. And as I said, I don't think it was bad to begin with, but I have no clue when this fluid was flushed last, so why not do it? It's literally $8 for a bottle of brake fluid. So that's why we did what we did today. Beginning of the season, we went ahead and just flushed her out, made sure she's good. And like I said, this bike here generally just gets maintenance. It's not a project bike like the Sportster was a project. Okay, I bought it, a couple reasons. Number one, to help out my buddy. He needed some money, so I bought a bike that I'm too big for, that needed some work, just to help him out. Number two, to show you guys, you don't got to have a ton of money to own a Harley Davidson. You can find bikes like that Sportster for $1,500. And a little tiny bit of work. I mean, we rebuilt the carburetor. We installed new brake pads. We flushed the brake fluid. What else did we do to that bike? Rebuilt the carb. We put an open air cleaner on it. Stage 1 kit. Open air cleaner, high volume air cleaner, set of drag pipes, forward controls, new tires. I mean, all said and done, I think, because I got the parts on eBay. I got them cheap. I might have like $400 into that bike. Okay. And honestly, I could have just flushed the brake fluid, threw on brakes, rebuilt the carb. The rebuild kit's $20. Rebuilt the carb, Obviously, being the tires are original from 1997, they were no good. You can't use them. They're too old. It's dangerous. But I could have had it up and running and riding around for as little as like $200, give or take. Now, I changed the tires myself. I got the tires cheap. I ordered them on the internet. And if you go through my lives, you'll watch me struggle changing tires here in the shop. It is possible to do yourself. It is also a big pain in the anus. Yeah, I would only recommend changing tires yourself unless you're like me and wanted to prove a point, or if you absolutely have to. You can get 2 different style tire tools, tire spoons like this. They work okay. I like the old school tire irons. I got these on eBay for $15 for 3. You can actually find these on Temu. The whole kit is under $20. I tried them both because I didn't know which one I was going to like better. You need a vise, place to work. Either soapy water or honestly changing tires. This stuff works even better. You're on a silicone-based lubricant. You do not want to put petroleum oil on them tires. You're going to have a bad time if you do that. And you can do it yourself. And depending on what you're doing, if you've got a light bike and you're doing a lot of high-speed highway running, you're going to want them balanced. But in general, most bikes, you can get away with either not balancing them or buying balance beads and putting them in. And shops in the areas will change them. Generally, give or take 40 to 50 bucks a wheel. They're going to change it. They're going to balance your tire, and they'll get rid of your old tire. So if you want to save 80 bucks, you can do it yourself. The thing is, a lot of shops will kind of give you grief if you buy your tire somewhere else and then bring it to them to change. I mean, obvious reasons. They're not making money on it, so they got a legitimate reason to bitch. And it makes sense, but, you know, for example, a front tire for a Harley Sportster, you can get it as cheap as 60 bucks. Whereas if you go to a shop, they're going to sell you a much better brand and higher quality, and they're going to charge you 120 bucks for a cheap one. So if you're a guy that's maybe on a wing and a prayer and just wants to ride, you know, it might be the way to go for you to do it yourself. All right, so that is pretty much what we wanted to do to this machine today, man. Let's go ahead and remove this, cap off our brake bleeder, put some vacuum to this so it doesn't leak brake fluid when I pop the hose. Okay. You're probably not watching this, Albert, but this is what we're going to do to your night train whenever you get around to bringing it over here when the weather gets nicer. But I'm going to need you to do something, buddy. I told you, bring me brake fluid, because I don't know if your bike takes dot 5 and 6 or dot 3 and 4. Okay, and you can't mix the two. If it takes dot 3 and 4, just bring the bike. I have plenty of it here. But if it takes that dot 5 and 6, yeah, you got to bring me brake fluid. That shit is very expensive, bro. You got to supply your own. And we'll dump this down the pan, because it's not much. Put the used brake fluid back on the shelf. Get you guys backed up and out of here a little bit so you can see what I'm doing a little better. And we don't need this light on. It's a cool light, and it's missing one of the hooks. This is like something you'd hang on a car hood or something. But I just wanted to use it today just because of what it is, where it came from. To me, it felt like it was important to use it. And it felt like it was a good day to do it. So, Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports is upstairs cleaning the house. Not upstairs, in the house. Kind of feels like upstairs because the house is that way up on a hill, but garage is detached. The shop's not part of the house. But she's up there doing that right now. So I know she's not watching. But if you're watching, Heather, if you're watching, that was your grandpa's work light that I just used for the first time, which is pretty cool, man. The same goes if you're watching Georgia. That was your great grandpa's work. I don't know if Georgia watches my stuff. I think she does, which would be, I guess, my niece-in-law or my niece. I don't know how you'd classify that. Okay, get this back on the shelf. Tools picked up. Make sure I got no brake fluid on my hands here. Way better. Feels way better now. And we'll get the old girl backed up and out of the way here and pull the other machine over after we clean up the brake fluid. As try as I might, I always friggin' spill something because just how it goes, I guess. And I think this cardboard's about soaked through. I could pitch it. Whenever I order parts and stuff, I always break down the boxes. And I keep piles of cardboard. Kind of try to help keep the shop floor a little better looking. The gentleman that owned this house and this shop before I bought it had his garage floor so clean you could eat potato salad off of it. I do my best, but I don't keep it that clean, unfortunately. But Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports gets a little bit angry with me if I track oil and dirt and grease all over floors that she spent all day keeping clean. So cleaner the shop floor is, the happier she is, because I'm not dragging it up in the house. Let's get this little bit of oil cleaned up, and then we'll move the Sportster over and get started on it. Where did I put the goddamn broom? Well, shit. I probably should have found the broom before I dropped kitty litter all over the floor. Damn it. Oh, there it is, in between the toolboxes. Yeah, try as I might, I always, and I swear, it's always brake fluid. Every time I mess with brake fluid, I end up spilling some on the floor, or I just do. I guess because I'm so concerned with not getting brake fluid on painted surfaces and stuff and chrome that I neglect to realize that I'm dropping it on the floor. I guess that's probably where that comes from, but we always tend to get some on the floor no matter what we do. So let's just get this somewhat cleaned up here. There we go, a little better. The next project shouldn't have any kind of oil spills. So how in the hell did I get it all the way over here? I wasn't even working over here. I guess I did, apparently. There we go, that's better. All right. Sunday's garbage day around here. I got a whole ass 50-gallon can full for them this week. I don't take the shop trash out every week because, I don't fill that trash bin every week. But it gets full. And they love it when I bring that up because the guys like to... I used to be a garbage man. I always warn against doing this, but they do it. They'll reach up into the garbage can to grab the bags rather than dump the can. Dude, you should never do that. There could be a snake in there that'll bite you. Any kind of critter living, broken glass. Maybe somebody got diabetes and got a needle in there. Maybe they're using illicit substances that require a needle. If you know what I'm saying without saying it. Never reach in. Dump the can, guys. But I don't put a garbage can liner in the shop trash. I just throw it all to have a big thing. I throw it all in there, and it pisses them off because they have to actually pick it up and dump it. Okay. We're going to give a little bit of love to the Harley Sportster. All right. So, the wash and polish ain't happening until tomorrow. We do not need to install front brakes. But we did flush the brake fluid in the front. The rear reservoir looks actually good. So on the Sportster, mirrors, front brake lever, install the horn, wash and polish. Obviously, we're not going to wash and polish it today. It's 30 degrees out. It's not a good day. Sorry about that. It's not a good day to be doing that kind of activity. Let's see if we can't maybe you guys can get a better view if I set you up here. Lower you down a little like this. There we go. This might work out better for you. You'll be able to easier see what I'm doing. Yeah, we'll go from this angle here. Cool. You should be able to see what I'm doing. I can read your comments. All right. So like I had mentioned, I do not like these mirrors. Okay. With the bars set up the way they are, these mirrors are down low. All right. I'm a big dude. When you look out your rear view mirror, your motorcycle, you want to see just like this much of your shoulders. So when you're looking behind you in the mirror, you should see like a cutoff from here and then the road, a cutoff from here and then the road. Being as these mirrors don't stick up as high, they kind of suck. I can use them, and I have been using them, but I don't like them. And if you're following this build, if you can call it that, I'm not going crazy as far as a bike build, quote unquote. But if you're following this Harley Davidson Sportster saga, we want to eliminate as much chrome on this bike as possible. We want as much flat black on it as possible because that's the look I'm going for. Like a garage built, 70s, 80s kind of chopper type thing. That's what we're going for with this. So what we did, and this was another one of them, no reason to buy it, but eBay sent me a coupon to get it for peanuts, so I bought it. These are a clone of Harley Davidson mirrors. You look at what's on my Electric Glide and look at what's on my Dyna. Same exact shape mirror, same everything, but no chrome, flat black. Okay. These are factory Harley Davidson mirrors from 1997. They're a little pitted. They're not the greatest looking, but they're factory Harley Davidson mirrors. These guys here will fit right in their place. And it's going more along the look of what I'm kind of going for this machine. And as you can see right here, they're going to stick up a little higher and be out a little further. That's going to give me a better view. And they're kind of sleeker, cooler looking. And honestly, I got them for $10 on eBay. I had no reason to not buy them. When it comes time to paint the tins on this bike, we'll show you that. I'm going to do that myself. I know you just commented, Mr. Peters, David Peters Jr., you had just commented on the Facebook profile. Yes, I'm going to paint this bike myself. I'm not the best at that. So the best chance for success in a home paint job is to have perfect weather. You don't want a lot of humidity because you get fish eyes. You want to have the right temperature. I'm going to want it to be at least 70 degrees. I'm going to want it to be warm. And I don't want to overspray all over my garage, so that's going to be done towards the garage door. And I'm going to want good weather to do it. As well as we're going to, oh, by the way, smoking's bad for you. You know what else is bad for you? Watching these videos without liking and subscribing, man. There's only 12 likes. Let's get it a little higher. In order to paint it, we're going to do something I've never done. I've never used this. When I've shot a coat of paint on something, it's because it looked like crap and I just wanted it to look a little better. Well, we're going to take our time on this. We're going to do the best we possibly can. What we want to do here is strip off all the old paint. And I'm going to use a product called Aircraft Stripper to do that. 1/2 inch. I may have to move the turn signal out of the way to get that. Aircraft Stripper has got some chemicals in it that are just not kind to you. You kind of really don't want to breathe that shit in. So we're going to do that on a day when it's pretty nice outside. And we're going to do that outside. And you need it to be over 50 degrees. I'm going to wait for a warm day. It works from everything that I've read online. Aircraft Stripper works better when it's warm. And rather than make a video on it like everybody else did, because let's be honest, it's a product I've never used. So, product I've never used, so I don't know how it's going to come out. So we're probably, honestly, we're probably going to do that live, just to do it so you guys can see whether it's a good product and easy to use. Like everybody else's video makes it look nice and easy to use and it works perfect. I'd like to do it live. That way you guys can see that. Why not just scuff and top coat it? Junk mail. Because I'm doing it myself here. I want the best chance for success and I want to remove all the paint. Plus, this is actually a decal that is underneath the clear coat. And you can feel it with your fingernail. So if I just scuff and through the top coat, you're still going to see this. And I don't want that. So I want to go all the way down to bare metal before I actually try to primer and paint. And if I go through the rigmarole of trying to peel that decal off, it's going to be more prep work, sanding. And like I said, you can feel it. It's definitely a decal. And on a phone camera, you're probably not going to be able to see it. It won't be enough detail, but I can feel with my fingernail, there is definitely a coating of clear coat over top of that. So we basically are in a position where we have to strip away all the paint. Okay. Thing to think about here. See that little washer? That was on the top. That's how it's supposed to be. There's one on the bottom too. Now I'm looking at this right here, and I'm seeing that it only came with one lock washer. Just hate going to bare metal. That's the deal, man. Going to bare metal the way I'm doing it, it should make it pretty easy from all the videos that I've watched. Dudes are just... they're putting the aircraft stripper on and literally just taking a putty knife and peeling the old paint. Just comes right off. What doesn't come off with a putty knife, second coat, and you hit it with a wire brush. And from everything I'm seeing, it looks like it's going to work great. But you guys will find out when I do it live. Because, you know, obviously, this is a fault for me that I don't like when other YouTubers do this. I want you to see the whole process, right? If something is a real bugger to do, I want you to see that, because a lot of times when folks make a YouTube video, they want to look like the most professional, best mechanic out there. You're not going to see them bust their knuckles because they slipped off the bolt that's hard to get to. They're going to edit that out. I like to do these lives for that reason. That way I show you that you can do this too. I'm not a master at it. Nobody is, man. Maybe somebody that does it for a living for 30, 40 years, but you can do this too. And even I have hardships when I work on stuff. And I have been doing this since before I was shaving. You know what I'm saying? Before I even had gray in my beard. So for me, it's important to do these lives just to show folks that, hey, man, you 100% can do this yourself in your garage. And I say it almost every video. I'm an idiot. If I can do this, you can do this. As I drop a bolt on the floor. Oh. The turn signal mount bracket has to hold up on here. And then a washer. And then the nut. And it's a little difficult to do because what is directly in the way is the turn signal housing. It's difficult to get this nut started. Once it's started, it should be easy. There we go. And we'll just go ahead and turn this to make it easier. There. Probably have to readjust the turn signal when we're all said and done. Okay, what size was that? I believe a 1/2 inch. Watch them be metric because they're probably made in China. Not metric. I don't know. A little odd for a 1/2 inch to be like that. Let's try a 13, just slightly bigger. I don't think that's a 14. No, that's just a paint coating on it that's got it feeling like that. And we're just going to make it snug for now because we are most definitely going to have to adjust these. So we'll make her snug and get a feel for what it's going to look like. And then we'll sit on the bike and we'll adjust it and we'll show you how to do that. Yeah, we might not be able to use them on this side. Uh-oh. Hopefully they're the same threads. That's a different, that has a bracket to hold the turn signal mount on this side. This side, the turn signal mount goes right to the actual turn signal housing. That's bigger than a 1/2 inch. Well, that'll be about a bummer if I can't use these. That's okay. They'll work on a bunch of different motorcycles. I'm sure there's something else I can use. I do want to change these out. I want to get smaller little LEDs that actually clamp onto the fork tubes. Well, she's bigger than 9/16, isn't she? But that's in due time. Hold on a second here. We gotta. Where did I put the remote? There we go. Anyways, at some point here in the somewhat near future, I want to put an extended set of fork tubes on this bike. And I think when we get into doing that is when we're going to actually change out the turn signals. But for now, these ones are wired up. They work. And for what this bike is and its purposes, I need another 5/8 to do this, don't I? For this bike's intent and purpose. we want her more functional than cool. Worry about cool looking later on down the line, to be honest with you. I don't know exactly when, but I got those shorty shocks for the rear that's going to change the rake angle just a skosh. And that will make it look a little more proper when we put an extended front end on it. But the deal with that is they are Burley brand slammer shocks. They're 2.5 inches short than the shocks that are on this bike. Okay. And it's going to look, it's probably going to ride like shit. I wouldn't paint it at all. That blue looks, I know, man. It was kind of buggering at me a little. Like, I've been searching eBay. I do want to change out the rear fender to a bobtail rear fender. Make sure these are the same threads. Yeah, you know what? They're not. Oh, that's a bugger. I don't think we're going to be able to use these mirrors. That sucks. We shouldn't pay nothing for them. Let's see if this will thread into this side here. Anyways, I'd honestly considered buying new tins. Yeah, we're not going to be able to use these. That stinks. They are 100% a different thread. Yeah. That just stinks. Man, all right. When we do change out the turn signals, we will use these mirrors. But for now, unfortunately, I have to use the stalkers. But anyways, back to what I was saying. I wanted to get a new gas tank, bobtail fender for the rear, and I wanted a shorter fender on the front. I don't want to cut it. So let's be honest, if I cut it, it's going to look like shit. I'm not a welder and fabricator. But they do sell on Lowbrow Customs a shorter fender for the front. But a different style tank, the one that I want, the different fender that I want, everything added up in the cart to be like $500. Okay, that's more than I want to spend on this old girl right now. It honestly is. So that's something that's might happen in the future. It might not. But given situation, and it's a floating thing too, because you know what, we're going to leave that off for now because I have to get up in here to change this brake lever, and I feel like it's going to be a little easier with that off and out of the way. Everything's kind of like a floating situation when it comes to that, because I get ideas of how I want to modify my bikes, and then I'll change my mind like we all do. So, and it's a matter of how many folks are bringing me bikes to work on, you know, how busy I am with my job, and how much money I want to spend. Let's be honest here as well. I really dig this little bike, and for what I paid for it and for its intent and purpose, it's just about perfect now. It's just, I want as little chrome as possible. I don't want the whole Harley Davidson emblem, ride to live. I don't want none of that. I want simple, flat black, plain Jane, you know, unassuming. That's what happened with my mirrors. Yes, you had to get an adapter. I'm not going through all that, buddy. Further on down the summer, when I change out the turn signals, they'll be mounted to the forks instead of up to the handlebars. And that is when we will cross that bridge, because then I can use the hardware that came with those mirrors and it'll work just fine. But for now, we're just going to run the stock Harley mirrors, and, you know, we're going to enjoy it. They work just fine. There is nothing wrong with them. I would just kind of like the shape of those. I like that they're a little bit taller, And I really like the fact that they're not chrome. Okay. I need to open that up, which means I need to flip the switch on this way. How do you? I had to get a big pair of pliers to change that. I may not even mess with this. I'm getting annoyed with it. But I have that pretty looking chrome brake lever. I kind of would really like to use it, but devil. Oh, you're killing me. I don't remember how to do this. You just turn the switch on this thing to go from internal to... There it is. It was a little froze up. There we go. There. Switches it that way. That way they open the way. Oh, I can get that clip off there. It is. Like, I see why the dude changed the... Hopefully that'll fit. They are not Harley Davidson either. These are aftermarket. And I may not even have... Yeah, I don't. It's not going to work. Yeah, I'm going to need better snap ring pliers for this because these are not going to get in there in the holes. To change that out, that's a bummer. I wonder, can I maybe barely get in there with a screwdriver and... Oh, almost had it. Okay. I don't know if I want to continue fighting with you, dude. You suck. Come on. Wonder if I can peel that open with a screwdriver and get it out of there. I don't like that setup. It kind of sucks. You can jump on this bike and ride it anywhere right now. I don't want to change that by breaking this little clip and then having to try to find one. Yep, nope, that's not going to work. And once again, these snap ring pliers that I bought are not the best. So this might be a job for later. Oh, you devil. Come on, baby. Come on off of there for me. Or maybe I'd change the bits on this to something a little different. Would that help? Because, yeah, we have to try that before we go any further. Otherwise, we're just going to bolt the mirrors back on and call this done, this little project that I wanted to work on, because I'm getting annoyed with it. What about getting an adapter for that thread? I probably could. Them turn signals are coming off anyway, bud. I'm going to go with a different style turn signal, and the only reason you need that particular thread is the mirror stock goes down through the brake perch, and the turn signal is actually the bolt. That's where the turn signal hangs. So if we change out the turn signals, we will no longer need that. And that will probably be the way to go. Yeah, here we go. I'll show you in a second what we're doing. I'm going to try this, and if it's still fighting me, we're going to call this good to go for now. Tiny little pieces. Okay. Now, if you look at the difference, maybe it'll pick it up. These are smaller. And what's happening is these are a little too fat. That's a tiny little spring clip. And these guys right here are just a little too fat to actually get up in there and remove it. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and change it out to these 90-degree angle ones. Hopefully I can grab onto it with these. And if I can't, this is just a project for another day. Okay. Yeah, these are the fatter ones. I get up in here. Put away before I lose them. Yeah, there's two things that I got to upgrade sooner than later. I need a better brake bleeding vacuum system, and I definitely absolutely need better snap ring pliers. I bought cheap ones a while ago, and I really wish that I didn't. Where are we at? It's not in this box. Which box is it in? Well, shoot. I just looked at it. It's over here. Read the comment. I was just thinking, now that we changed mine, change the levers too, because it would work. Yeah, you could. Since you have a different master cylinder on there, you could absolutely change out to something different easier now. Yeah, here it is. Now, hopefully this is the proper. Hopefully this is the proper lever. Yeah, looks like it. You get a difference. These are. It's pretty cool. I'm not big on chrome, but a little smattering of chrome when the rest of this is flat black. And then to have, I have the clutch lever side done already. It was done when I got the bike, but these are cool, little skull bar ends on them. I am going to try one more time to get that snap ring out of there. And if it fights me, I am simply going to walk away. And in my travels today, I will pick up a quality set of snap ring pliers because, well, I need them. The devil is, this is right over my head, as well as the shop lights are over my head, and I can't see what I'm doing too good. Almost. Come on, you bugger. As well as, you can't tell, but I wear bifocals. And I'm trying to get my eye lined up with the close part of my bifocals. And in order to do that, The garage lights are blinding the hell out of me. Got it. Okay. I am really going to fight to put this back on. This is what I was just fighting with. Very, very tiny little snap ring. In fact, let me get a little magnetic tray and put it in there so I don't lose it. This pin should just pop up and out. The lever should just come up and out. Cool. Absolutely nothing wrong with this lever. There's no wear on it. There's no reason other than the fact that the other one looks cool. Where did I put the other one already? Dang it, I'm talking to you guys, I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. But you see what I mean? There's nothing wrong with this. This just looks cool. And in time, it's not going to look cool. Your hands are going to wear that away. You're going to see the copper underneath and etc. I have to get a screwdriver or something and try to work that over a piece. I should have one laying right here. Come on, you devil. Okay, maybe we got to give her a little persuasion with a little tappy tap tapperoo. That's over here. No. Pardon me. And absolutely does not want to go through there. Let's pull the lever back out. Is it because of the bushing? Yeah. Of course, you went all the way back there, you rotten sucker. Nah. Factory lever's got a bushing in it too. It goes through on the bottom pretty well. Just the top part of that bushing's tight. It doesn't seem to want to fight it back and through a couple times. Let's try this. Let's get just a tickle of grease and try that. In fact, what's on the lid of the grease can is probably enough. All right, let's do just a little tickle of grease on here. We'll see if that helps. That might help it fit a little better. I'll get that spread around a little. There we go. Pop the pin back out. Drop it under the toolbox. Ah, the joys, the joys, the joys of working on motorcycles. All right, let's try this again. Pin is right there where I can grab it easily. Okay. A little more touch of grease here. And that won't hurt nothing. And we'll see if that'll pop through a little better now. Man, I'm telling you, it just doesn't. I mean, it does need to be a tight fit, but it just doesn't seem to want to go for me. Yeah, that's not happy. Neither am I. I don't like that. What's the deal down here? It's actually pushing that bushing through. I don't like that fitment on that. That's probably why the gentleman didn't use this particular lever. Yeah, don't like that fitment. Let's see if we can drive that pin back out of there. Maybe if we try to drive it back and forth a couple times. Yeah, I don't like that fitment. That pin should not exactly fall in and out of there, but it also shouldn't be a fight to get it in and out of there. So I don't like that. Let's mess with this a little bit further. Okay, let's see what has happened here. I'm gonna have to grab a pair of pliers and actually pull. That whole bushing has just self-destructed itself because it is a cheap piece of shit. And that would be the issue. Yep, that would be the issue. That bushing is a piece of shit. It's hard plastic. I don't like that. I don't know if we're going to use this lever. That sucks. Can we possibly remove the old one? We probably shouldn't try because it's from 1997. It's a little brittle. But we can try. Yeah, see, that's a better fitment. Okay, let's try that. Let's try the bushing from the factory lever in this lever and see how it behaves. Yeah, see, it's wanting to do the same thing. I don't know if I like the idea of running it without a bushing. All right. Yeah, we're going to run it like that. It's on there. Doesn't have the bushing in it, but I would like to have bushing in there. I really would. Let's try it one more time with the factory bushing that's in terrible shape. I just would really like to have that bushing in there. I feel like it needs to be there. It'll probably be just completely fine without it, but I just really want that bushing in there, and it's not kind of wanting to. There we go. Got it. Tighten it up. Factory bushing. The one that come with the lever. Cheap plastic garbage. All that fresh coating on it made it tight. Yeah, no, it's just this shitty plastic bushing. Not a quality one. The Harley Davidson one that's 30 years old worked. It's not in great shape either. It's a 30-year-old plastic bushing, but it worked. So in it went. Now we fight to get this godforsaken clip in place. And that's not going to be a very fun endeavor. Just turn back up where it needs to be. There we go. Ah, you bugger. This is I could use your help here, boss. Okay. What's wanting to happen is I'm actually beginning to push this out of place. Okay. So let's grab a screwdriver and keep it handy. See if we can't. I can one-handedly, easily with one hand, get this clip in place and push the bushing on it, or push the pin down at the same time. Oh, we got it, I think. Nope, get in there. Almost, dude, you're killing me. That is just the tiniest little freaking clip, and it is not cooperating. Yeah, that's a design that I don't like. For sure, a design that I don't like. Let's try it one more time. You know how it goes. We keep doing it until we get it, man. We got another hour or so to work before we got to call it quits. So if I can get this put back together, I'd be happy. If not, we'll just do it tomorrow. Did I get it? I feel like I got it. I can't quite see. Okay, I got to do something. It's going to suck for you guys, but I got to do it. These overheads on this bay of the garage, I got to turn them off because I wear bifocals, and to look at the close-up on this side, I have to turn my head up, and I'm looking straight at them lights, and I can't see shit. So I'm going to have to kill the lights for a second so I can see what the hell I'm doing. Okay, kill the lights on that side of the shop. I know it sucks. You can't see what I'm doing, but you got to make sure that clip is installed properly, because if it falls off going down the road, I am going to lose my front brakes. And as much as I want you guys to see what I'm doing, I want to have front brakes a little more. You feel me? So bear with me a second. Yep. All right. She's in position. And the clip is where it needs to be. Good. Okay, I can turn the lights back on. Cool. That is something that was really bugging me with this bike. I really like these levers. And the guy I got it from only did the clutch lever. He didn't do the brake lever. I see why. It sucks. There we go. Muy bueno. Much, much better. You know, I could get away with taking the mirrors off of my Dyna Super Glide and putting them on this bike, and it'll work just fine. I can 100% get away with that. And part of me wants to. Really does. But I think for now, let's not say we did. We'll put the factory mirror back on this side until we figure out on turn signals. Like I said, I want to move the turn signals down to here. So, as much as I really like those flat black mirrors, as much as I like those, for now, until I change out the turn signals, we're going to have to just keep using the factory mirrors, which, you know, it kind of sucks, but so be it. I like modifying my bikes and stuff and all that, and it's fun, but at the same time, I want to be able to jump on and ride this bike anytime I want, so let's just put the crappy factory mirrors back on her. And you'll get a better view of what's going on here. Here, show you guys what's happening. It's not much different, but it is. Grab the dial calipers real quick before I get to putting it on, and I'll measure it to be 100% sure. They're definitely different threads. It wants to start threading in, but it's not threading in, and it should just thread in real easily. So I'm guessing that's what's happening. And part of me wants to just steal the mirrors off my Super Glide because they will fit. They're chrome, though. I wanted black, but I have black handlebars on the Super Glide, so black mirrors will look good on it too. But we have the outside diameter of the thread is 308 thousandths. Okay. On these mirrors, the outside diameter of the thread. Huh. 306 thousandths. I feel like it should work, but for some reason, it just doesn't feel right screwing on. The pitch looks almost identical. No. No, that's a finer pitch on the Harley Davidson mirror. That's the problem. These are finer threads. There's more threads per inch on this than on the other one, which that sucks because it goes on this side directly into your turn signal. Do I have a nut that size? Because you can see on this side here what's going on with it. See how there's a little here, come here, get over. See that? There's a little bracket. If I have a nut that is the right thread size, I could still use those mirrors. This is the part of messing with old motorcycles, and if you're watching Ghost, this is a part of building choppers. We're not like building a chopper, but we are modifying a bike. guess it'll kind of be a chopper, not in the traditional hardtail sense. I do have a nut that'll work for that. Technically it would have to be a bolt. Technically. Let's get the factory nut. I can possibly make something work here. Nope, wrong thread. It could be a finer thread. Do not think I have one that fine. Do not think so. Let's see. Nope, that's too coarse. This bag is 100% metric. What's this guy right here? This isn't exactly what I want, but will it fit? Yeah, that's too coarse for thread, for sure. All right, I thought maybe, what's this? Too big. Well, that's kind of a bummer, because I thought maybe I could make like an adapter bracket like what's on the other side to, you know, move the turn signal off to the side and have from a bracket, but I would need a bolt that bolts into that, and we do not have what we need to make that happen, unfortunately. So that means we are just going to use the factory Harley Davidson mirror for now. Man, that kind of sucks, dude. Damn it. Really, really wanted to use these black aftermarket mirrors. They look cool. But such is life, dude. Can't always get what you want, right? So what we'll do, we'll just put her back together with the factory mirrors, and this is a project that I'm going to be farting with for quite a while. And it'll be a while before I get it to the way I actually want it to be. So snugged up a little here. Adjustment will be probably about like that. I'm sure I'm going to have to adjust these again. So let's just get them slapped on for now. Slap back in place where they need to be. We're going to have to go through and adjust everything again to get it where we want it and get the turn signals pointing in the proper direction. Bummer, bummer, bummer. That kind of really bugs me out, man. I was really looking forward to using these. I like the look, everything about them, but unfortunately they're just not gonna work with the Harley Davidson hardware. I was hoping that wouldn't be a problem, but I guess it is, so I'll figure that one out later. And like I said, when we change the turn signals and they're no longer hanging from here and they're down on the fork tubes, it won't be a problem. I'll use the hardware that came with those mirrors, and we'll put them on there and set them up properly. Okay. It's either that or I go to the hardware store and try to find a, let me get you over here. Find a bolt that's that size and make a bracket with an extra washer and then have a hanger, and then I could use it. That's a lot of shite to go through when I'm not going to use these turn signals at the end of the day. They're on there now, they're functioning, they're wired properly and all that. But in the long run, they are not going to get used. We are going with a different style, something that I like a little better. So when the time comes to change those out, we'll figure it out from there. I think that one was a 1/2 inch. But yeah, when the time comes, we'll change them out, and then we can mount any kind of mirror we want. But for now, these guys have to hold the factory Harley Davidson turn signals, so we're kind of limited, and it's a bugger. It is what it is. Can't always get what you want. Okay, we're just going to make this snug for now because I have to sit on the bike to get the mirrors adjusted where I want them, as well as to clutch levers up here. I want this up a little more. I should be able to twist it just a tick. Yeah, I'm going to have to loosen these. Should be at 5:30 seconds. Yep. No. You don't want to come loose, do you? I don't like that fitment on that. Let's get a little further into the tools here. That should be 5:30 seconds right here. No, 3/16, too big. Eighth. I just had the 5:30 seconds. Oh, should be this one maybe. 5:30 seconds. Okay. Okay, we'll use this to loosen that. That's a little tighter than it needs to be. And we do not want to fight with an Allen key that's not going to work our way. All right, let's get these positioned where we want them. I want it more like that. Okay. Jam that in my pocket temporarily. I need to go a little more this way. A little more. Okay, that'll work. Snug this up. Well, it's not binding or anything. That's good. It feels good. All right, now we got to get these mirrors where they're actually going to function, which on this side is going to be about like that. And get you guys readjusted a little so you can see precisely what I'm doing, because it's important to know what's going on here. Yeah, the shop might have a bolt for that, but honestly, for what I'm doing with it, man, I'm not worried about it. Okay. Now, when you look in your mirrors, and moved over here more so you can see me. When you look in your mirrors, you want to catch just the edge of your shoulder, which that's about right on that side. This side, I'm going to have to loosen and swing the whole unit down. Well, actually, that's right. We didn't. Yep, that'll work. Need to maybe go up. Can I go up anymore? I go like that and loosen that. This is like a really goofy setup that Harley used on these, man. Go. All right, about there. Okay. All right. Now we got them where we want them, where I can see. Now the trick is to get the nuts tight on the bottom without moving the mirror on the top. That's a little tricky. So, and there's also 2 nuts on this. And at the same time, we are going to need that turn signal to not point into the friggin' weeds. I mean, you'll still see it, but it don't look right. Okay, so hold the mirror steady, point the signal that way. And then we'll put wrench in the back pocket so that I can't get to it and forget where I put it. I'll put a little snuggeroo on you so that the mirror doesn't move anymore. Okay. I get a turn signal pointed forward about like that. That's at a really funky angle, but with buckhorn handlebars, that's what you get. And the buckhorn handlebars are something that makes this bike super comfortable for me, so they are absolutely staying. That's like a ball and socket inside there, so you just kind of snug it up, and it should tighten on that ball. I feel like I made it that loose. I guess I did. There we go. Now this is the tricky part. You gotta snug it while holding this, but at the same time, it wants to turn the whole shebang up top. There we go. I had these set up the way I wanted them, and then I had to fart around and move everything, and well, there we are. There we go. That should be snug enough to hold it. And we'll do this side, and unfortunately, we're using the same stinking mirrors, even though I wanted different ones, and I bought different ones. For now, this is what we're using, because as much as we want this little bike to look cool, we want to ride the daggone thing. And in order to ride the dag thing, you got to have turn signals and you got to have mirrors, right? Dirt Bike Picks. What's up, Dirt Bike Picks? Thanks for tuning in, man. Oh, that's right. This side's 1/2 inch. Just finishing up here, boss. Dirt Bike Picks. We're almost finished for the day. Let's snug this devil up a little more. And then we got to readjust the turn signal. Hopefully it's, yeah, no. We need the 5/8. On the handlebars back here. Right on. We're going to call that good enough for now. Whatever. We got working mirrors, man. We got working mirrors. Good enough to ride it. And yeah, we're going to make it look cool on another day, unfortunately. But sometimes it be like that, you know? Sometimes it be like that. Can't always have it your way. Dirt bike picks, since you are just tuning in. I bought these mirrors, flat black. Is like, you've been following us, you know what the deal is. This whole bike's going to go flat black, and we're getting rid of the chrome. I like this shape of mirror. It stands up taller. You can see out of it better. And it's flat black. Unfortunately, the Harley Davidson mirrors have a finer pitch thread. Same size, but a finer pitch, more threads per inch. Okay. And the problem with that is you can use it on this side because the mirror just goes through to a nut on the bottom and the turn signal is hanging from a bracket. Well, on this other side, over here, turn so you can see. Whereas over here, the mirror stock goes down through and onto this nut that the turn signal is hanging from. Well, in the near future, we're going to move the turn signals to down here. We're going to put a little aftermarket set of little tiny ones like that, and they're going to hang out down here somewhere. So we won't be using these. So in the near future, we will be able to use these mirrors. Just unfortunately not today. And who is... Somebody sent me a text. Bummer. Sorry, Adrian. Bummer. My coworker, as he works Saturday and Sunday and does the job that I do on Thursday and Friday. And they changed something up on our job that we do. Kind of hard to explain to y'all, but they wanted something done differently, and they have their reasons. Well, we had our reasons for doing it our way, and it made our life easier. And they said, well, no, do it this way, and we're not going to do this particular thing anymore that makes your life a pain in the butt. So on Friday, I followed their directions, and I did it their way. And lo and behold, they did what we said makes it a pain in the butt. And unfortunately, the guy who has to work today has to deal with it. It sucks. How do I put it? Okay. As you know, I haul stuff around inside of a steel mill, okay? Dumpsters, in a dumpster truck. Well, they were putting this stuff that's like a powdery, it's like black baby powder. It's ash from burnt coal, okay? And it's called flue dust. And they put it in a dumpster and they mix it with water because, like I said, it looks like grayish black baby powder, and it gets everywhere, gets in the air. The EPA gets on them because the particulate in the air. So the steel mill used to mix a little water with it. It comes down this big chute. They mix that water in with it, and it kind of kept the dust from foofing everywhere because it had water jets. Well, when you put that baby powder fine stuff in a dumpster and you mix it with water, it turns to like a clay. Doesn't want to dump out of the dumpster, and we would have to physically climb in the back of the dumpster and shovel it and break it loose. Well, we got this idea that what we were going to do was to put a dumpster liner in the dumpster. And it's like a garbage can liner, essentially, but huge for a dumpster. And that way, that would contain all that clay stuff. And when you pick the bed up, whoosh, it would all just dump right out. You wouldn't have to jump in the back and use the shovel. Well, where we were dumping that particular material, they were scooping it up with a front end loader, loading it in, mixing it with some other shit, and loading it up into triaxle dump trucks, taking it right to the landfill. And it was working out fine. Well, we change things up a little bit. Instead of taking it to the landfill, they're putting it through a different part of the mill, and they're processing it and baking it and turning it into something different. And they decided that that process plant cannot handle, there's like a thing that grinds it up, and it cannot handle the dumpster liner. It's causing problems. So no more dumpster liners. Okay, cool. Well, we're not going to mix as much water. Okay, cool. We'll run it. Well, they did. They mixed that much water. And unfortunately, the poor dude is going to have to do what we used to do and climb in a dumpster and shovel, which that sucks. It also means that I'm going to have to do that either Thursday or Friday, but I'm fat and it's hard work and it won't kill me. Okay. So let's get a look over here at the drawing board, see where we're at. We're at the 3-hour mark, so we're almost finished here. And we did. This is the one I want anyway. We got to put that on hold. We did this. We're not installing the horn today. Basically, is I have to make a little bracket to mount this guy, and I think we're about out of time for today's live, so the wash and polish ain't happening today either. It is just too cold to be outside doing that. I'm going to leave the microphone over here. I got to relieve myself, and as you know, the bathroom in here ain't exactly a bathroom. It's just a toilet up against the wall. I'm back. A few more tools to put away. We're just about done today, I think. Clean things up a little better, and we're going to get on to, well, two things. I'm going to Harbor Freights. I'm going to buy a better vacuum pump to bleed brakes with, and I'm going to buy a better set of snap ring pliers because I need them. I've been using them crappy ones for years now, and I bought them when I didn't have much money for nice tools. And I'm using them more often now, so we definitely need a better set. It is what it is, folks. And we also got a driving lesson. I'm going to teach Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports how to drive. As well as that car came in here in December, and came in here in October. And we went and looked through it real good. You know, got a good look at everything, made sure she was all good to go, but it hasn't been back in the garage since then. I think maybe this afternoon we're going to pull that car in the garage and just give it another go over. Now that it's getting used more. So, on that note, I think we're going to cut out on you. Let's see. We're going to plug the new bike in should be okay, to be honest with you, but I feel like it should be on the battery tender either way. Why have a battery tender on it if I'm not going to use it? I just installed that battery last week, so it definitely doesn't need it, but it just feels odd for me to have a battery tender on a motorcycle and not have it plugged into the battery tender, right? 12.8, we don't need it. But we have a battery tender. Why are we not using the battery tender? Let's plug her into the battery tender, right? Other than that, this bike is ready to rock and roll for the season. Ready for the big blessing of the bikes, Greater Pittsburgh and Murraysville. We'll be headed out there. Definitely Mr. Harry Upperman, also known as Charlie, and myself. My friend Kellen might come. Our friend Albert says he's going to come, but he says he's going to come to a lot of things that he doesn't come to. But if you want to ride out with us, get a hold of me on Facebook, and we'll set up a meet time. Probably some food involved before we go. Ride out to a nice church. There's going to be between 2,000 and 5,000 bikes. The preacher is going to say some words and bless all of our bikes and bless us. And if you are at the Greater Pittsburgh Blessing of the Bikes and you want your bike to be in a video, come find me. Look for a fat dude with a gray beard and a camera. And we'll do a little close-up walk around. You can talk about your machine, and it will make it to the video. I do this every year. I catch a video, a little bit of riding on the way out. We may even go live during the actual sermon, the blessing, depending on what the battery situation is in my phone. And this year I have an external battery pack as well as like 6 GoPro batteries, external battery pack for the phones. So hopefully we will catch that whole thing live for you guys. Depends on what the signal's like there. We went live last year and the signal was okay, but like when I'm live from the phone here, my phone's hooked on the Wi-Fi, so it's a nice, clear, steady stream. Hopefully this has been, even though I have some elevator music playing in the background, which eats up a little Wi-Fi, but it's going to be a good time, man. I'd like to see you guys out there. So on that note, put that back where it goes. And the tools are all cleaned up. Let me get washed up here. And we did get the parts in to deal with the Harley Davidson clutch basket, which is a guy that brought me a bike to deal with. But what we do not have is the main bearing, because he accidentally ordered the wrong one. So that's going to be probably another week before we get to that, as well as I purchased a hydraulic 6-ton press to press out the old bearing and press a new one in, because you need one. We're not going to do the torches and hammers thing. We're going to do it properly. So that'll hopefully be next week's thing. That's why I wanted to get what little bit of work I still need to do on my 2 Harleys that I ride off and finished. And sometime mid-May, we're going to pull the Dyna up, the Super Glide, the black and yellow Harley Steelers bike, the hot rod. We're going to pull it up, install a new battery, change all the fluids, inspect the brakes, adjust the clutch, some new spark plugs, clean the air filter, get her ready for the season. That bike doesn't see a lot of miles, like at all, really. That bike spends more time sitting in the garage simply because it's my baby. It's something I've always wanted, was an old Evo. And I like to try to keep that bike as pristine as possible. So I only take it out once in a while, like if there's a local car show or Once every couple weeks, I'll rip it around town, make some noise and show off. It doesn't get a whole lot of miles put on it. So we did some maintenance on it last summer, beginning of the season. I thought it was going to get more miles than it did, but it didn't. Because, well, plain and simple, I bought 2 other Harleys to ride. That way one can sit. But that doesn't mean we neglect it. Anyways, folks, thanks a million for tuning in and watching. Tune in Saturdays and Sundays. I usually try to start between 10 and 11 in the morning, unless I have a ride going on or me and the missus are just going to go ride up in the mountains for the day. But I usually try to get you guys alive and teach you something about working on motorcycles, a little bit of philosophy on life from a old fat gray beard biker, and is what it is. Phoenix Motorsports, we make those dead motorcycles rise from the ashes and ride again. Thanks for watching. I will catch you guys later.